You see the gains, you see the gains, you see the gains. Anyways, we're gonna get into it today, guys. We are gonna be talking about how to get a lean physique, how to build your physique, right? A lot of you guys have this question. A lot of you guys want to know how to get aesthetic, how to build a good physique. Obviously, this shit takes time, right? In reality, I know there's a lot of stuff on social media. There's a lot of people thinking that you can just get a good physique in 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. It takes years. It takes time. It takes you being intentional for a long period of time. That's why at the end of the day, when you have this body game shit, when you walk around and you have a lean physique, you are going to be rare. Now, in the bio, there will be a workout program if you're ready to get lean. There'll be a nutrition plan in there. There'll also be my new body game program going from 25% to 10% if you're locked in. You're not going to get there, obviously, if you're not locked in, but it's going to map you exactly how to get there. Very, very simple and straightforward. Let's get right into this shit. Let's get it. All right, so when you are training for aesthetics, guys, this is not just training for strength. This is not powerlifting. This is not performance training. Obviously, it's different from that. All right, so when you train for specifically aesthetics, you're going to be focused on mind muscle connection and obviously getting a V taper look, getting that kind of look that you want, right? That's the look everyone desires. Everyone's always saying they want to look like Brad Pitt from Troy. They want to look like this, they want to look like that, but they never really lock in enough to actually embody that look. All right, so you want a lean athletic build. That's your goal. You want to look more like a boxer. You want to look, you know, kind of. You don't want to look like JoJo. The JoJo's physique characters or the JoJo characters, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure characters, or like Baki characters. You want to look leaner, right? More slim, lean, like a little bit smaller than Asta in Black Clover. Um, you know, that's the look you're going for, right? Very, very important. Kind of like a Toji body as well. All right, so like I said, lean aesthetic physique, you're gonna have to be 7 to 12% body fat. Now, I know y'all funny people out there. I know y'all are out there. I know you guys are out there saying stuff like, "Nah, bro, like he's what do y'all be saying? Nah, bro, he's like 15% body fat." Don't play with me, bro. Don't play with me, bro. I be getting tested, bro. 8 to 10%, bro. Look at the veins in the fucking abs, bro. Most people will never look like this. All right, I'm talking about naturally. I'm not talking about this unnatural shit. You guys don't know. I'm getting a little off track, but you guys don't know. A lot of people are on steroids these days. Like it's just insane. The Anavar and the Retrotide and all that other shit that people are fucking injecting into their bodies. That is what a lot of people are taking. This is all natural. All right, simple, getting lean, just staying consistent. All right, but yeah, you're gonna want a good V taper. So obviously, you're gonna want some upper chest. You're gonna want that V taper look comes from the lats. Obviously, I have higher inserted lats, but they grew over time. I was born with like more so narrow clavicles, but with lat work you'll get them wider, and with shoulder work you'll get a better V taper. Anyways, you want moderate to high muscle mass. Listen, and a good V taper. All right, I'm gonna get into it right now. Right, well I'm gonna get into it a little bit later about like the high muscle mass shit because yeah, a lot of you guys get confused with that. Now, one of the main things you want to make sure you're doing obviously is gonna be resistance training. When you lift weights, guess what? It's gonna lead to muscle definition, obviously, and high muscle mass. How do you get high muscle mass? You lift weights. Simple. It's going to boost your metabolism. It's going to boost your testosterone, right? And when you get to like a lower percent body fat, some of you guys DM me about being at a lower percent body fat. You guys have no muscle mass. I was like, you guys go to the gym? You're like, no, but I'm at like 10%. I'm like, okay, well, you're going to look like ass. You're not going to have a V taper because you didn't put on any fucking muscle. Like, you don't go to the gym, you don't do calisthenics. You're not resistance training. Resistance training is calisthenics and going to the gym. Lifting weights, lifting body weight, that's both resistance training. So if someone's like, man, I would never do calisthenics, or if someone who does calisthenics is like, I would never do weights, both of you guys are resistance training. Stop beefing with each other. All right. Keys to building a lean physique. Obviously, so when it comes to your daily activity, one thing you do not want to do, I repeat, you don't want to do this. You never want to reduce your NEAT. All right. You never want to reduce your steps. So if you start your cut with 5,000 steps per day, during your cut, when you get leaner and leaner and leaner, you're going to want to conserve energy because your body's going to, slow down the metabolism slightly, not significantly, slightly. So you're going to want to reduce energy by being less active. Do not go below that 5,000. All right. And then also, if you are at 5,000 steps to begin your cut and you're at like 2,200 calories and you don't want to go lower in calories, then you can always increase your activity, right? You can increase your steps or increase your cardio. Very, very simple. All right. Now, specifically talking about cardio, in the body game program, going from 25 to 10%, I'll slowly increase the cardio or whatever because I noticed that most people do not like to reduce calories. What I do and what I always preach is the easiest fucking thing to do. You just reduce calories, bro. Like We don't need that much food. Just like you have a few hunger pangs. I think having a few hunger pangs is just way easier than fucking doing extra steps and shit. That's just me personally. But a lot of people are like, nah, bro, I feel like shit. I can't do this. It's personal preference, I guess. But for me, when I was getting, here with all the veins and the abs and shit, I literally was doing 2,000 steps a day, zero cardio, lifting 5 to 6 days a week, and guess what? Just bump down the calories. Like if I'm at 2,200, I stop losing, bump it down to 1,900. Stop losing, bump it down to 1,800. Like that's all I did, and I just kept getting leaner and leaner and leaner instead of adding, activity and cardio. You see what I'm saying? And my step count was super low because I was doing an online nursing job, and then I was doing online training and stuff like that, and of course doing TikTok lives and shit like that. You know what I mean? But anyways, if you've already lowered your calories past a comfort point for you, now, like I said, this is comfort. It doesn't mean you can't do it. You can lower your calories pretty fucking low. I've seen people, with a lot of muscle mass go down to 1,500 calories and they maintained all their muscle mass. So you can do whatever you think you can, but if you think you can't do something, then you can't. So it's like, is this what's comfortable for you? Some people get super uncomfortable going that low. So if you're at 2,200 and you're like, I can't eat less than this, please, then increase your cardio. If you're already lean, then increase your cardio. You can start off with, let's say you're getting 5,000 steps, you're doing zero cardio, and you're at 2,300 calories. All right, and you want to continue to lose because you plateaued. Do 3 days of 30 minutes, incline, 3.0 speed or some shit like that on the treadmill. Honestly, that's kind of fast. I would do 2.5 speed. This is overkill. But anyways, I would do 2.5 speed or 2.0 speed to start off with, and then you plateau again, 4 days, 40 minutes, and then you plateau again, 45 minutes each day. Those 4 days, then go up to 5 days, shit like that, right? You just increase the cardio instead of cutting back on the nutrition until you get to your goal. Now, like I was saying earlier, this is very, very important. An aesthetic physique is going to require moderate to high amount of muscle mass. That shit takes time, guys. High muscle mass, high body fat isn't aesthetic. It's just like you look fat swole. Low body fat, low muscle mass, which a lot of you guys have, especially if you're like beginners and you don't lift weights. You guys contact me and you guys are like, oh my God, like I'm at the body fat percentage you said. What's going on? I'm like, you don't lift fucking weights, bro. You need higher muscle mass, which is going to take time, all right? It's going to take time for you to build that muscle mass. Now, about building muscle mass. If you're super skinny, it's going to be easier for you. Like, I'm not going to lie, dude. If you're super skinny, a lot of super skinny people are super lazy and they're just embarrassing to me, right? Because they'll say shit like, "Oh my God, like I'm all, like I can't gain weight, like my metabolism's too fast." No, it's not. Eat more fucking food consistently. Eat more food every day. If you want to be gaining muscle, you should be full every day in the beginning. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have discomfort every day, right? Realistically, a lot of youngins, a lot of 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds are asking me about hopping on steroids when in reality, in their first 3 years lifting, they can gain like 40 pounds of fucking muscle, especially since they're skinny, right? And they're going through puberty. So if you were to lean bulk or eat at or main gain and gain strength and hit your protein numbers for 3 years straight, right? I'm talking about consistency. No one's consistent, and that's why people have issues and they hop on steroids and shit. I'm not talking about competitors. I'm talking about average kids, right? But if the average kid that's like super skinny, say you're 6 foot and you're like 140, like I was when I started, right? If you gain, 50 pounds in the next 3 years while lean bulking, you know, 30 to 40 of that is going to be fucking muscle mass. All right. You're going to have your water weight, muscle mass, and then 10 of that will be like fat. All right. So you will put on significant mass, right? That's 40 to 50 pounds. So you'll be 180 to 190 and you'll look lean because you put on mass, which means your body fat percentage either stayed the same or went down, which is amazing. You know what I mean? So that's what's going to happen in your first 3 years of lifting if you're consistent. 3 years sounds like a long time to you, but the shit passes anyways. And then it's 3 years later, you look the fucking same. So you might as well lock in and do what you need to do. Obviously, you have to progressively overload, but progressive overload is an interesting concept because it's something you don't have to talk about if you're just in the gym. If you're in the gym and something gets too light, what do? You just add fucking weight. It's not real. Like I don't think you have to talk about that because it's like it's assumed. Progressive overload is assumed. It's kind of like when someone asks me like, "Hey, how do I get lean?" I'm gonna assume that you locked in on nutrition, but 90% of the time they don't. All right, sets and reps. Should you train to failure like they say on TikTok? Should you do drop sets all the time? Should you do straight sets, rep ranges? Listen, do straight sets, 6 to 15 reps. Unless you're a bodybuilder who's been lifting for 10 years, that's when you can get into, and you're using steroids, of course. That's when you go into failure and drop sets and all that other shit. If you're trying to raise intensity because you've been lifting for a while, yes, you can do drop sets if you're like working out with your friends and shit like that. But if you want results, I know straight sets in 6 to 15 reps, that sounds boring, but that's where you're gonna fucking be. That's hypertrophy rep range. Everybody that you see that has a good physique that's saying, hey man, I only do 2 to 4 reps. As soon as they turn the camera on off, they go back to their 6 to 15 reps because that's what they fucking do. Look up, okay, if next time you see someone who's a long time creator that says they only do 2 to 4 reps, all you have to do is go back 1 year and you'll see them being like, yeah, it's only 6 to 15 reps. That's the only place you need to be. I've seen a lot of creators doing that shit, but you get more views when you say 2 to 4 reps and train a failure, train 1 rep. Like you get more views when you do that shit because it's different, right? But those same creators, I would follow some of those creators, and when they started lying, I had to unfollow them. But they literally would always say, yeah, 6 to 15 reps. On the live, they say the same thing, and then all of a sudden, 2 to 4 reps got popular. They started talking about that. I was like, dude, what the fuck? But anyways, straight sets, 6 to 15 reps is going to be the best place to be, especially for compound movements. Now, if you're doing isolation movements, things like side raises, maybe you can do some like partial rep sets and things like that. But that's like later down the line. And then as far as like isolation movements to warm up your chest, like if you're doing pec deck, yes, you can get to 15 to 20 reps or whatever. But listen, let me tell you something. The reason I say 6 to 15 reps because that's what's scientifically proven. That's what everybody fucking does. And that gets results. Not everyone that gets results. Because I had some dude, he was like, "Hey man, like I'm struggling to build muscle. I'm trying to get leaner. This is that. Like help me." And then I look at his workouts. He's doing like fucking 30 sets of compound movements. Compound movements, you want to be closer to the six to 10 rep range. That's for compound movements, all right? Because it's gonna hit a lot of muscles and you're gonna have a lot of return on investment, like especially for squats and shit like that. But he was doing like 32 reps of squats. He was just making shit up. Like literally, it said 32 reps of squats. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And then like 27 reps of bench press. Like I don't know. Don't ask me why he was doing that, but yeah, that's why he wasn't lean. All right, best exercises for lower body, very, very simple. All this is going to be in the program as well. But you got back squats, obviously, that hits like fucking everything. You got leg extensions, hack squats, hamstring curls, slow dumbbell deadlifts, Smith machine deadlifts, regular Romanian deadlifts as well for your hamstrings. Obviously, when you do deadlifts for strength and power, it's way different than controlled deadlifts. Like when you're doing deadlifts, like if you're doing deadlifts with, what was I going to say? Yeah, if you're doing deadlifts with a barbell, then you're going to go way slower. You're not going to just slam it on the floor when you're working your hamstrings. Versus if you're just going for power, yeah, you can do like 1 to 4 reps and you just slam the weights and shit. And then calf raises, variations calves, variation of calf raises. All right, and then for your upper body, obviously the things you want to emphasize: upper chest, shoulders, traps, arms, shit like that, right? Now, I will say I be seeing some crazy physiques online. Listen, I'm focused. The thing I focus on, by the way, during the journey is always progress, not perfection. Because man, I see some motherfuckers and I'm like, yo. And then some of them are like, I don't know if they're natural or not, but then some of them come out and say, oh, I'm on roids, and it's like, this is who kids are looking up to, which is crazy to me. But anyways, Smith machine incline, dumbbell incline, and hammer strength incline press machines are going to be best for your upper chest, shoulders. You want to just, fuck with the rear delt flies, the side raises, spam the shit out of those. Of course, shoulder press too, but focus on side and rear delts, honestly, because your front delt's always going to get work. Your back lat pull downs, pull ups, rows. Now, obviously, this is 3 movements, but there's like 1,000 variations of each with all the different machines. Like lat pull downs, you can do close grip, you know, with the arch. Okay, that's fucking pause. But yeah, you know what I mean. You could do close grip and then arch to get your lower trap. There's like a lot of different variations you could do for different shit. Rows, obviously, there's T-bar rows, seated rows, one arm rows, one arm cable rows, low to high rows, high to low rows. There's just a lot of shit. And then arms, your tricep push downs, curls, close grip bench, tricep kickbacks, all of that, dips. And then traps. The best thing for traps is Smith machine shrugs. I actually the fact that you could even see a trap here is a miracle because I just assumed like when I was working out, I kept asking people like, "Hey man, you think I could get traps?" And some people were like, "I don't fucking know, bro. I don't see anything there." Like I thought God made me without a trap insertion. Like that's what it looked like. I thought he was like, "Oh shit, I forgot to put a trap insertion in this nigga." Like that's what the fuck it looked like. Like I swear to God, there was nothing there. There was no, there was not even potential. There's not like, oh, there's the muscle belly. There was nothing there. Like it's a fucking miracle that there's even traps there. Like I was convinced. I was like, dude, if I injected synthol into my where my traps are supposed to be, nothing will grow. Like I was convinced, right? But yeah, doing Smith machine shrugs, progressively overloading over time definitely helped. All right, now for the best split is going to be consistency. All right, the best split will be consistency. If you do insanity for fucking, consistently for a year, you'll be good, right? Arnold split works, bro split works, push pull legs works, you know, bro, kettlebell swings and all that shit works. Like if you train with a kettlebell consistently, you eat right, you get some results, of course. But like no one's consistent, and that's the issue. You see what I'm saying? Like during during COVID, I did for about 6 months. I like made my own at home workout program to do to stay in shape or whatever. I'm actually gonna link that in the description too. But that's what kept me in shape. That's what kept me lean. You're gonna be able to maintain muscle mass, right? If you actually work out correctly and you stick to a workout while following nutrition, right? And yeah, like I just said in the slide before, consistency. Like for some reason, people want to become better at things. People want to be. Actually, here's the thing: people just expect themselves to be prodigies somehow. They're like, "Man, I should be good at this." I'm like, "Why do you say that?" And stop looking at these MMA fighters and these boxers and thinking that somehow they're all prodigies. A prodigy is someone who works hard and wins. It's not someone who just fucking wins without working hard. Like you literally can't just show up. You cannot show up and just ball out like you're Dennis Rodman. It's not gonna happen. All right, it's not gonna happen. Like you can't just you're not gonna show up to the gym, lift one weight, and be like, I told you I was a prodigy, and just gain a bunch of muscle. You have to be consistent. All right, and then of course the patience. The weirdest issue that I see is that you had years of laziness, you had years of inconsistency, which is why you're not at your goals. Everyone understands that, right? A logical person could see that. But for some reason, when I'm like, yeah, it's gonna take you time to build your muscle. For 2 decades you've been eating like shit. You haven't been hitting the gym, so let's give it about 3 years. But this is a lifestyle change, so you'll be doing it for life. But give it 3 years to see extreme results, 6 months to see initial results. And they're like, 6 months is crazy, nah, bro. I only got 6 weeks. And I'm like, dude, you're 40% body fat with no muscle mass. In 6 weeks, best case scenario, you can get down to 34% body fat without losing muscle. Like, what are you talking about? You see what I'm saying? So like the time's gonna pass regardless. All right, stop procrastinating, stop making excuses, and stop being impatient. Here's the reality of why most motherfuckers is gonna fail. All right, people have the victim mindset. They make excuses. Why they can't reach their goal. They're inconsistent. They lack structure. And like I said, it's weird when people see me like lifting heavy weight and they're like, "Well, that's heavy." It's not heavy. It's not heavy. I'm just consistent. Listen, if you bench, if you're like usually if someone flat benches if someone's flat benching in their workout, right, and they're not repping 225, that doesn't mean they're strong or weak. That just means they haven't been doing it for a certain amount of time, which is fine. I don't really care. It's just a literally you just know they haven't been doing it for a while. Because best believe if you program, I don't program flat benching anymore, but if you program flat benching into your workout and you've been doing your program for 5 years, you should be repping 225 no matter where you start. I mean, that's literally just basic progressive overload, right? Like if you program it, but if you program like incline split machine, I mean, you should go up in that too. If you program incline dumbbell, you should be going up to at least 70s after a couple of years. I mean, that's not even that impressive. It's just based on how much you push yourself and progressively overload and track and stay consistent. Another thing is, I remember I was at the gym. I was wearing a pump cover, right? But I had aura, so this dude was looking at me. He's like, "Yo," he was like, something's off about this dude. I don't know. I can't tell if he's strong or weak, right? So the dude does 70s, like he's struggling with 70s because he's a younger dude, newer lifter, right? He's been lifting for like I think like 2 years or whatever. But he was doing 70s for like 5 to 6 reps on his top set, making a lot of noise. And then I don't make that much noise when I work out, so I just casually pick up the 75s to warm up and do like 15 to 20 reps. It doesn't count as a set. I'm just warming up. And he looks at me like, "What the fuck is going on?" Then I did my working sets of 6 to 10 with like 110s, right? And this was all at like 185. So by the time I took my pump cover off, I just got like fucking veins going everywhere. And he's like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on?" But it's just consistency. It's just a time difference because he's probably gonna be stronger than me when he gets to my experience level. Anyways, let's be honest. So yeah. And when you track your progress, guys, the most important things are going to be your weight and your waist size. If your weight goes up, but your waist size goes down, that means you gain muscle and you lost fat. All right, that's a good thing. If your weight goes down, but your waist size stays the same or goes up, that means you lost muscle and gained fat. That's bad. All right, so weight loss without context is useless. So make sure you have context with it as far as tracking your waist size. Also track your lifting, so So when you go in the gym, you don't you actually make progress, which means you actually build muscle. And then another thing you can do during the process is check your body fat every like 4 to 6 weeks. Don't get too anal about it. I know some people check every week. That's excessive. Like that, you need to focus on the process. All right. The more you check something obsessively, the less you focus on the process. So like people who check their weight like daily, if you're not competing and you're not like you haven't done the lifestyle already, it's very difficult. Like if you've never worked out before and you check your weight daily, you're gonna stress yourself out because you're gonna have a lot of variations. It is what it is. But that doesn't mean you're gaining or losing fat. You might gain 3 pounds in a day, but it's not fat gain, but it fucks up your head. All right, other things to note, nothing crazy. You know, these are just bare minimums that I feel like I shouldn't have to say. But if you don't do these, don't expect results. If you're not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, just shut the fuck up. If you're not getting a gallon of water a day, you're not doing the bare minimum. Protein powders, is a lot of different ones. I'm currently using Rule One, but it doesn't matter. All whey proteins these days are pretty solid. Other supplements: ashwagandha, yohimbine pre-workout, obviously, dandelion root if you have some bloating, tonka ali for testosterone. Very basic shit, man. Very basic shit. All right, and then another thing to note, right? A lot of people are like, "Oh, you look fine at 226, not too bad. Oh, you look okay. I can deal with that." Nigga, I was still fucking lifting weights. So the difference between looking like you're on steroids and looking like you're not, right, is literally body fat percentage. That's why I say, you get to that 7 to 12% range. People are gonna be like, "No way, you're natty, man. No way, bro. You look more aesthetic." That's when you're gonna look the most aesthetic, between the 7 to 12%. All right, like over here, I had lower muscle mass, decent body fat. Probably like 15%, somewhere around that range, or 13%. And then over here it was probably like 20 to 25, to be honest. And over here it's like 8 to 10, somewhere in that range. You can see there's way more veins here than there's here. But yeah, that's what makes the difference. That's what makes the aesthetic difference, is really just body fat percentage. Because there's a lot of times you think someone's bigger than they are, but they're not. It's just their body fat percentage. That's why when you go up to someone, you're like, "Dude, you look swole." It's like their waist looks small, which makes their shoulders look bigger, and they have no fat, which makes their muscles look bigger, which means they're probably around 8 to 10% body fat, and they probably weigh way less than you think they do. All right, guys. So if when you look down you can't see your fucking Johnson, if you're tired of not being on body game, and listen, it's funny because like it's funny because my clients realize, like, I always say, like, "Yo, man, like you're gonna see the results. Men are gonna respect you. Women are gonna start conversations and shit." They're like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever. That sounds exciting." He's trying to motivate me. I'm like, "Nah, bro. I don't try to motivate anybody. That's not. I don't like motivating people. I want people who want to lock in and execute. So they start seeing the results. They're like, 'Yo, this body game shit is fucking real.' So if you really want to become the best version of yourself, you want to actually get that dream body that you've been wishing for, right? It's time to actually put that plan in action. Stop procrastinating. All right, link is in the description for all programs. Stay blessed.